Hello everybody and welcome to another Game News Roundup. The focus today will be the latest VGChartz estimates for the week ending the 19th of November 2022. This is the week before Black Friday. This is the week that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet launched, which, as we mentioned in the last Game News Roundup, sold 10 million units worldwide in 3 days, becoming the best-selling Nintendo game ever, and what I believe is the biggest launch ever for an exclusive game. The only games that have sold more in its launch or first 3 days would be multi-platform games on more than one platform. So yeah, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet did gangbusters. And this was also the week of the start, at least in the US and Canada. The Series S has been discounted by $50. It is temporary for the holidays. So instead of being $300 for the Series S, it is $250. And I believe also for Black Friday week, some retailers actually had it for below that, or for the same price, including like a $50 gift card or something. So it's like you could get it for $200. And last week, not the Black Friday week, not the week of weekending November 19th, Microsoft did have the Series X available for $400 instead of $500 on the Microsoft Store Instagram page. Specifically, just that. It didn't last very long. It sold out pretty quickly. But that was a thing that also happened. So yeah, this week, weekending November 19th, is the week that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet launched, as well as the starting of the Series S $50 discount, at least in the US and Canada. And then there's the usual holiday boost. So, Switch, easily number one, with about 770,000 estimated sales worldwide. PS5 and Xbox Series X and S are really close. PS5 just beating out Series X and S. This will be also the week after God of War Ragnarok launch for the PS5, with sales about 434,000 for the PS5 and 406,000 for the Series X and S. And if you look at North America, Switch and Series X and S were within 10,000 of each other. 275,000 estimated sales for the Switch, 265,000 estimated sales for the Series X and S, and 195,000 for the PS5. So Switch, Xbox, Series X and S, and PS5 first, second, and third place in North America. And then in Europe, we've got the Switch number one with 196,000, 131,000 for the PS5, and 83,000 for the Series X and S. Series X and S didn't really see the same boost like it did North America. North America is by far the strongest market for the Xbox, and the discount for the Series S didn't happen in Europe until Black Friday week, from what I was seeing. And then in Japan, 170,000 for the Switch, which is actually up year over year. And yeah, I should also mention, despite Switch being down pretty much for most of this year, if you look at this year compared to last year every week, sales are actually up slightly compared to last year. That is the Pokemon effect for you. Yeah, and then PS5 in Japan, 31,000, 1,500 for the Series X and S. And out of nowhere, all of a sudden there's a ton of PS4 stock in one retailer. 5,700 for the PS4 for 1 week. We'll see how long that lasts. If it's like all of a sudden some retailer was holding back PS4 stock for the holidays, we'll see how long that lasts. Well, we didn't see any boost in PS4 sales anywhere else. And the Xbox One, which is 106,000 sold worldwide, which is the last bit. And then at the end of the year, we're definitely going to stop tracking the Xbox One. And depending on what we're seeing PS4 sales, we might stop tracking that at the end of the year, but we shall see. Worldwide sales, the Switch is at 115.99 million units sold. PS5, 26.49 million, and the Series X and S, 18.66 million. And again, this is the week before Black Friday. We're seeing, I have very little data for Black Friday, so we'll see as more data comes in. What is relatively sales we haven't seen in a long time. Switch, PS5, and Series X and S might all three be above 1 million units sold Black Friday week. But that is just with very little bit of data currently available. So we'll see when more data becomes available, and I can figure that stuff out. But again, that should hopefully be out next Monday. Again, I usually do these weekly estimates on a Monday. Not for the previous week, but for the week before that. I like to wait for certain data to come in. If a certain data is not in yet, sometimes it gets postponed. But looking into the breakdown of the article here, I always like to do the generation on generation for the same week between the current gen and the last gen. So PS5 versus PS4, Series X and S versus Xbox One. For the same week for PS4 and Xbox One will be the week ending November 21st, 2015. PS5 sales compared to the same week for the PS4 in 2015 are down by over 330,000 units. Now, as always, PS5 is still hard to find. Yes, stock has improved, especially compared to last year, but it's still hard to find. And Xbox Series X and S continues to track well ahead of the Xbox One and even compared to the 360. But yeah, Series X and S compared to the same week for the Xbox One is up by nearly 119,000 units. So gen over gen. And year over year change in sales. So the week ending November 19th, 2022, which versus the same week a year ago, PS5 sales are up by 130,000. So year over year up 43%. And Series X and S sales are up by 155,000, or 62%, and the Switch sales are up 45,000, 6.2%, which, considering how old the Switch is, and it's been roughly down like 20% year over year, the fact that it even has 1 week where it's not just flat year over year, but it's actually up, is a good sign for the holiday sales, but we shall see, as always, more data comes in. Week-on-week sales, Switch sales compared to the previous week are up by over 285,000. The Series X and S are up by over 159,000. PS5 sales are down by nearly 42,000. Again, this is the week after God of War Ragnarok launch, and Sony had shipped a bit more consoles during God of War week. And again, this is the week that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet launched, and we saw the Series S discount in the US and Canada. Year to date for 2022, Switch has currently sold an estimated 14.28 million units. PS5, 9.49 million units, and the Series X and S, 7.39 million units. So that is the breakdown for the latest VGChartz estimates for the week ending November 19th. And also, I should note, the Switch only needs to sell a little over 1 million units, barring any adjustments. You know, as more data becomes available, we do adjust our figures. Barring any adjustments, the Switch should easily surpass lifetime sales of the PlayStation 4 with Black Friday week's figures. And it sold about 1.4 million units last Black Friday, and these sell just over 1 million over this past Black Friday instead of Black Friday 2021. Because we have the PS4 just over 117 million sold lifetime. We have the Switch just a hair under 160 million. So, like 1,030,000 is all the Switch needs to surpass lifetime PS4 sales to move up in the ranks to become the 4th best-selling console. And then within probably a few weeks of that, it'll be passing the Game Boy, become the 3rd best-selling platform. Not saying console because it is a handheld, but yeah, become the 3rd best-selling video game platform behind the DS and PS2. Sure, DS is 2nd, PS2 is number 1 best-selling video game console of all time. And we'll see how Switch legs are. Does it have enough in it to catch up to the DS and PS2? We will, well, hopefully in a couple years we'll have a better idea. Definitely this holiday, and then how sales are by the end of next holiday will be the big tell of how things are. And then obviously, when is the next Nintendo platform going to launch? That is another big question mark. And now, let's go to the latest monthly sales comparisons. Again, these are for October 2022, so sales through October 2022. We have right here PlayStation 5 versus PS3 sales after 24 months. Unsurprisingly, the PS5 is easily tracking ahead of the PS3. Yes, at one point, the gap did shrink a bit because there was very little PS5 stock earlier this year, and even last holiday there was very little stock, relatively for what you would expect during a holiday season. But in recent months, PS5 stock has started improving, and it has started growing its lead again, and it has surpassed 9 million units ahead of the PS3. Again, as of October 2024, with 25.28 million at the end of October versus 16.19 million for the PS3. And now we've got the Xbox Series X and S versus the Xbox 360 after 24 months. And, well, the PS3 is the worst-selling PlayStation console. This 360 is the best-selling Xbox console, and Series X and S continues to track ahead of the Xbox 360. Currently been around 5 million, just over 5 million units ahead of the 360 in the last about 3 months. The last couple of months, the 360 has outsold the Series X and S slightly, but not by much. But has been able to, as long as it maintains that lead, that is a good thing so far. As the Series X, the 360 did get a big boost later in life with the launch of the Kinect, especially in the U.S. It gave a big boost in sales in the U.S. But yeah, after 24 months, we got the Series X and S at 17.7 million versus 12.6 million for the 360. So yeah, Series X and S 5.1 million ahead of the 360. And now, generation over generation sales comparisons here. So this is combined sales of the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S versus the combined sales of the PS4 and the Xbox One. As you can see here, the latest consoles had a lead, fell a hair behind, grew its lead quite a bit, and then lost its lead. It's been behind, and then currently it's basically tied. Basically, the latest console is just a hair ahead. We basically say it's pretty much tied, especially when you look at the different lines here of this blue line here is the latest gen, the orange line is last gen, and then the red line here is actually the gen before that. But they pretty much just overlap each other. So yeah, the latest gen is only about 114,000 ahead, estimated sales compared to the previous generation. And interesting enough, like last generation, the PS4 and Xbox One were ahead of the PS3 and 360 for a long time, but by the end, PS3 and 360 sold just a hair more because they lasted longer. They had a longer lifespan than the last gen. But it's interesting to see, like, pretty close. And starting with the PS2 and original Xbox, basically every gen you look at combined sales of PlayStation and Xbox. They've been within like 10 million units sold of each other every generation by the end, which is kind of crazy to think where things have been. So it feels like the PlayStation and Xbox go to the same market, the same type of core gamers. So when one does better, it eats into the other one's market share and vice versa. Type of thing. And now we've got PS5 versus Series X and S sales after 24 months in specifically the United States. So sales comparison in the United States after 24 months. PS5 has been consistently ahead. Currently ahead by 940,000 generation over generation. Sorry, generation over generation. Not generation over generation. PS5 is ahead by 940,000 compared to the Series X and S. Apparently, I am terrible at words today. And probably most days, that's how this stuff always happens. In the last month, the PS5 grew its lead by 88,000. However, over the last year, the Series X and S actually sold about 333,000 more compared to where it was 12 months ago. And looking at this, compared to 12 months ago, so yeah, the PS5 currently has a 52.7% market share, which is down 4.7% year over year, compared to 47.3% for the Series X and S, which is obviously up 4.7% year over year. So the gap is smaller than it was year over year. But yeah, and also PS5 is currently 225,000 units behind the PS4 in the US, and the Series X and S is actually behind the Xbox One by 350,000. Even though the Series X and S is tracking ahead worldwide, it just means the Series X and S sales are actually doing far better in other places outside of, say, North America than the Xbox One was doing. So it's doing better in Europe than the Xbox One was doing much better in Japan than the Xbox One was doing. I mean, Xbox One sold like 115,000 units a lifetime. Series X and S is well over 300,000. There's a big difference. And the one bit of gaming news, that's right, one. That's right, this is a shorter video, shorter Game News Roundup, but whatever there is for me to talk about, it's however long it'll end up being. There was some smaller stuff, but I figure we'll just stick to the bigger stuff. And of course, like always, there's something going on with Microsoft's Activision Blizzard acquisition. This is a report from Reuters. I'm not sure how to pronounce the website, but this is according to several people who are familiar with the matter. Microsoft is likely to offer concessions to the European Commission, which is the European Union antitrust regulators, sometime in the coming weeks over its acquisition of Activision Blizzard as a way to avoid formal objections from the European Commission. One person with direct knowledge says the main concession is that Microsoft will offer a 10-year licensing deal with PlayStation maker Sony. While it did specifically say Call of Duty, all the regulators, they only basically mention just Call of Duty. It's the only thing they seem to care about is, alright, Call of Duty. If Call of Duty, if Microsoft makes it Xbox exclusive, how much is that going to hurt Sony? Is it going to hurt Sony so much where Microsoft takes such a huge lead? And of course, Microsoft has stated plenty of times they plan to keep Call of Duty multi-platform and potentially even release it on the Switch. But the concession will basically be, yes, Microsoft will guarantee with Sony that Call of Duty will remain on PlayStation for at least 10 years. As I said, they want to go the Minecraft route. And Microsoft doesn't actually have a deal with Sony or Nintendo to keep Minecraft on the PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch. But they still release it on there, including Minecraft Dungeons and the upcoming Minecraft Legends. So we'll probably keep seeing Call of Duty on PlayStation for probably for as long as we'll see, for 10, 20, 30 years, whatever. But then the other thing is, then they buy PlayStation. 200 IQ. Yeah. I have a feeling that deal, every single regulator will say hell to the no to that deal ever happening. There's no way now they're going to buy Sony. Could they afford it? Yeah. Would it pass? No. There's no way that would ever pass. What was that? Now you've distracted me, Dave. I was going to say something. Now I've forgotten what it was. Yeah, I forgot. Oh, yeah, right. You'll still see Call of Duty on PlayStation, maybe even the Nintendo platforms. But on Xbox, it'll be on Game Pass. It'll be on cloud gaming, so you can play it on your phone. More than just Call of Duty Mobile. Or you can play it on your Samsung televisions, which has Xbox cloud gaming available or whatever. You'll give myself 10 lashings. Not 10 lashes. Oh, God, big poofy lash. No, wait. Not what you meant? I'm kidding. I am kidding. But yeah, the European Commission has until January to release a statement on its objections. So we'll see. Basically, Microsoft's offering concessions that will hopefully shorten the regulatory process and hopefully get it passed by the European Commission. So, from a partner at law firm McDermott, Will, and Emery Stefan, ultimately such a move, this is talking about the concessions, such a move could secure an early clearance with the European Commission and subsequently be used by the parties before other antitrust agencies to show, like, hey, yes, FTC in the US, the CMA in the UK, yeah, we did this. Okay, fine, alright, if you keep it for 10 years, fine. We'll pass it. Or maybe we want some other concessions, who knows? But however, it remains to be seen whether the active complaints will validate such concessions, in particular in terms of scope, and if behavioral remedies will also be accepted by the CMA and the FTC. And a statement from a Microsoft spokesperson stated, Sony, as the industry leader, says it is worried about Call of Duty, but we've said we are committed to making Call of Duty the game available on the same day on both PlayStation and Xbox. We want people to have more access to games, not less. And also from this report, it also stated the acquisition of Activision Blizzard has been approved by Brazil, Saudi Arabia, and Serbia. Now, we've already known it was approved weeks and months ago in Brazil and Saudi Arabia, but this is the first mention of the deal also being approved in Serbia, being 3 regulators have so far approved the deal. Obviously, the US, UK, and the European Commission are the big 3 that need approval. Those are the big ones. And obviously, they're also going through their regulatory process, going through everything. Words, man. Words. Aren't they tough? Words are so tough. But yeah, this is it. It is a short game news roundup. No point in going over. I guess I could quickly mention. Of course, depending on when you're watching this on YouTube, new trailer for the Super Mario Bros. Movie will be dropping tomorrow, November 29th at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. It'll be available to watch on YouTube. And again, the movie drops in theaters April 7th, 2023. And this is for the second trailer for the Super Mario Bros. Movie. And Nintendo did specifically say, there will be nothing on... No information on upcoming Nintendo games. It's just the movie. That's what this Nintendo Direct is for. Just the movie. Just a new trailer. maybe they'll mention a few things, but mainly the focus is second trailer. Maybe we'll get to hear more of Chris Pratt as Mario, which if you listen to the first trailer, we heard like one sentence or half a sentence from him, and it sounded just like Chris Pratt. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, otherwise the movie looks absolutely fantastic and gorgeous, and Jack Black is freaking Bowser's. Mwah! Jack Black is he's fantastic. Fantastic. But anyways, hope you've enjoyed the latest Game News Roundup. If you have, hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Leave a comment. All that jazz. It all helps out the YouTube algorithm to let people know that, yes, people are watching TrunksWD's videos. So we will, have it just go out in the algorithm and all that stuff. Yes, exactly. And that's by YouTube. So yeah, hope everyone enjoyed watching this on YouTube. And hopefully I'll catch you all around the next Game News Roundup.